If you hear that soul-piercing, agonizing wail, if you see a second sun rise on the horizon, these are the first 24 hours after the outbreak of World War III. Congratulations! Humanity's longest day has officially begun. You have exactly 15 minutes to decide if you become a shadow on a wall or the first generation of survivors in the wasteland. When that missile alert pops up on your phone, your brain will instantly fall into a strange calm. In psychology, this is called normalization bias. Your subconscious is screaming that this is fake, that it must be a hacker's prank or a drill. Listen, that thought will straight up kill you. From launch to impact, the reaction time nuclear weapons leave you is desperately short. Do not push open the window to see what's happening. That is a one-way ticket to hell. The first wave of a nuclear blast is thermal radiation. It travels at the speed of light. If you can see that flash, it means you are exposed to an energy field strong enough to melt steel. If you are facing the window, the heat generated in that split second will ignite your retinas. Next, you will find everything in the room spontaneously combusting. So, what you need to do right now is shout out loud, "Alert received. This is not a drill. I need shelter." Trust me, talking to the air isn't stupid. It forcibly drags back your logic, which has fled due to fear. You need to instantly cut off your panic spiral. Then, run immediately to the center of the building. Never run to your car. A car is just a tin can in front of a nuclear shockwave. It will turn into twisted scrap metal with you inside. What you need to find is an ugly, thick concrete building, or the bathroom or stairwell at the very center of your apartment building. Stay away from all glass. Stay away from all exterior walls. Your best bet is to crawl into a windowless closet. That is your only lifeline. We need to talk deeply about why glass is your greatest enemy. Seconds after the thermal radiation, a terrifying shockwave follows right behind. It will sweep through the city like a giant sledgehammer. The tempered glass you usually think is strong will shatter into tens of thousands of high-speed bullets in that moment. They will sweep through the interior at hundreds of meters per second. If you are still standing by the window, you won't even have time to feel the pain before being sliced to pieces. This is why you must get down. Cover your head with both hands and open your mouth to prevent your eardrums from bursting. Science tells us distance and shielding are your only two friends right now. A nuclear blast isn't instantaneous death. It is a multi-dimensional physical slaughter. Thermal radiation chars your skin. The shockwave dismantles your bones, while the most insidious ionizing radiation is quietly rewriting your genetic sequence. So remember, hide behind thick cover. Use the density of the walls to absorb those frantic particles. Your skin cannot stop them, but 3 meters of earth can. 2 layers of brick wall can too. Now, hold on in this dark corner, because the hardest time has only just begun. If you are lucky enough to survive the first wave of impact, do not rush out to see the spectacle of the end of the world. This cramped closet you are in right now is your center of the universe for the foreseeable future. You haven't turned into vapor yet, which means you finished the hardest step, but the survival challenge ahead is more like a war of attrition. You now need to turn this small space into a closed life support system. If there are windows, even if they aren't broken yet, please immediately seal them with anything you can find. Mattresses, couch cushions, or those heavy textbooks. Pile them all up against the window. Right now, you aren't doing renovations. You are building a defensive line against radioactive dust. This is a game of density and thickness. The inverse square law in science tells us the further you are from the radiation source, the lower the dose you receive, and the denser the material in front of you, the higher your probability of survival. Many people ask if blankets are useful. Listen, blankets definitely can't stop powerful gamma rays, but they can help you slow down the impact of beta particles. Most importantly, they can block alpha particles. You aren't building an indestructible fortress, but a haven that helps you buy time. And time is the only currency in a nuclear disaster. Your next moves must be fast. Fill every container that can hold water. Bathtubs, buckets, even all your pots and pans, because once the city's water supply system collapses, your faucet becomes a piece of meaningless scrap metal. And you must remember, tap water after a nuclear blast is likely radioactively contaminated. So while there is still residual clean water in the pipes, hurry and store it. This water isn't for washing your face. It is the core fuel for your life support system. In these 24 hours, you will experience unprecedented thirst caused by a combination of stress and dehydration, but you must learn to restrain yourself. Do not gulp it down like milk tea. Sip it like a miser. Let every drop stay on the tip of your tongue long enough, because you don't know when the next rain will be, let alone if that rainwater will be poisonous. In this stage, your brain might start wandering. You will think of your family, think of your friends, even the crush you never got to confess to. Listen, at this juncture, sentimentality is the most useless thing. What you need is absolute coldness and extreme survival rationality. If you don't take care of yourself right now, you won't be able to protect anyone later. So please sit tight in this dark little room, listening to that eerie silence coming from outside. That is the sound of the world rebooting. Now, we need to talk about the most terrifying characters in a nuclear disaster: Black Rain and Fallout. Many people think that as long as they aren't blown up, they're fine. Actually, the real Reaper is the radioactive dust drifting on the wind. It looks like ordinary dust, maybe even a bit like falling snowflakes. But every speck of dust is a miniature nuclear reactor. They will attach to your clothes, in your hair. If you accidentally inhale a breath of it, they will settle permanently in your lungs, and then release radiation 24 hours a day without stopping, destroying your cellular tissue at close range. This is why I require you to seal the room. Stuff wet towels into all door cracks. Block the vents with shirts. What you are filtering are particles, not air molecules. So you don't need to seal yourself completely in a vacuum. That would cause you to pass out from carbon dioxide, poisoning. That is the most absurd way to die in a survival game. You need to leave a tiny gap at a high point to ensure basic oxygen exchange. But make sure that gap doesn't let large particles of dust fly in. This is the smart man's way of sealing. Keep your awe of nature, but also keep your faith in physics. Regarding the threat of fallout, there is a very famous 48-hour rule in science. In the first 2 days after a nuclear blast, the activity of radioactive materials is at its most frantic. Iodine -131 and cesium -137 are dancing wildly out there. That is the peak period of energy release. But if you can endure these first 48 hours, the radiation levels outside will drop off a cliff. Though, it's still not safe. At least it's no longer the concentration that kills you instantly. You are actually playing a game of endurance right now. The longer you stay in that closet, the greater your chance of walking out alive. I know this is miserable. The air is stale. The light is dim. Your phone probably lost its signal long ago. This sense of isolation will drown you like a tide. You will start to wonder if there is anyone left outside. If you are the only person left in the world breathing, don't think about that. Your only task is to keep your breathing rhythm steady. Keep your body temperature balanced. Do not move. Do not sweat, because every bit of wasted physical strength is shortening your survival progress bar. In this special moment, stillness is your most powerful counterattack against the world. Now, let's talk about food and drink. I know you might be very hungry now, or feeling nauseous due to extreme tension, but listen to me. Start the rationing system immediately. Even if you have a whole crate of mineral water and sausages in your hand, don't feel rich in the face of disaster. A survivor who doesn't know how to exercise restraint usually doesn't last past the first week. The human body can only last 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food. This already decides your priority. Water is always number one. 2 liters of water per person per day. This might sound like a lot, but in an extremely dry and radiation-filled environment, this is truly just the bottom line to keep your kidneys running. Never chug. Learn to spread out your intake. Your body is a miraculous machine. It can run in low-power mode for a long time. As long as you sit still, your metabolism will drop to its lowest. So don't pace around the room. Don't try to move heavy furniture. Just sit there quietly. Save every bit of moisture and heat. As for food, forget about anything that needs cooking. Opening a gas stove or starting a fire right now is basically sending your location to the Reaper. Cooking fumes will attract other people's attention, will consume your precious oxygen, and will destroy the environment you've worked so hard to seal. Eat cold. Eat bland. Eat those high-calorie compressed biscuits or protein bars. You aren't eating for enjoyment right now. You are providing glucose to your brain to keep its ability to think. This process will be extremely boring. It might even make you feel like survival itself is a form of torture. But this is the essence of wasteland life. There are no heroes in the wasteland, only ordinary people who can endure extreme dullness. You might start hallucinating sounds, thinking you hear a neighbor's cry for help or a rescue team's whistle. Listen until safety is confirmed. Do not just open that door you sealed shut. The world outside is now a zero-sum game. In the face of extreme resource scarcity, human nature will show its darkest side. What you need to do is stay in this dark little corner. Guard your final survival resources. Be a silent observer, not an impulsive victim. The next advice might make you very uncomfortable. Turn off your phone or put it in airplane mode. I know, when disaster strikes, your instinct is to frantically scroll through the news, wanting to know what happened, wanting to see videos on social media. Listen, the internet during a crisis is a trash heap full of toxins. You will see countless unconfirmed rumors. You will see all kinds of terrifying images. This information will erode your judgment like a virus, causing the cortisol in your body to skyrocket. Cortisol is the great enemy of survival. It makes your brain sluggish, makes you make those suicidal wrong decisions. You will feel panic attacks. You will feel your heart jumping into your throat. This is all the fault of information overload. You aren't gathering intelligence. You are self-harming. At this time, what you need is an old-fashioned battery-powered radio. Tune it to the emergency frequency. Listen to the formal instructions issued by officials. That is the only voice you need to pay attention to. Other social platforms, other group chat info are all noise. Write down the time and location you hear. Write down the evacuation routes or resource distribution points. Then immediately turn off the radio. Save that precious battery power. Your task right now isn't to be a war correspondent. You are a survivor undergoing evolution. What you need are facts, not fear. You must remember, your brain is an extremely powerful survival machine, but it is also easily manipulated by emotions. Feed it clean numbers and facts. Let the panicked people go crazy online. You only need to maintain silence and vigilance. This kind of psychological mental strength will give you a survival probability twice as high as others in the coming chaos. In times like this, the person who can resist looking at their phone is the truly tough character. The toughest moment usually happens between the 10th and 15th hour, after the blast. By then, the initial shock has worn off. Fatigue and despair will start attacking you in turns. You will hear footsteps outside the window, hear people shouting for evacuation in the streets. Someone might even knock on your door, telling you to run into the mountains with them. Listen, unless it is an official rescue team in hazmat suits shouting through a megaphone, do not open the door and do not run around with spontaneous refugee tides. The highways now are a conveyor belt to hell. Thousands of cars will block the roads completely. Drivers out of gas, panicked crowds, and people who have already lost their minds. In that environment, you have no defensive capabilities. You are just a mobile target exposed under a radioactive cloud. In this sealed room, you are actually 100 times safer than on that highway. This choice that goes against instinct requires immense willpower. Fleeing is an animal instinct, but staying put is the decision of a sentient being. You must understand. Fallout is most lethal in the first 24 to 48 hours. Every hour you stay in the shelter, the radiation damage to your body decreases by another notch. This is a pure mathematical gamble. You are trading temporary claustrophobia for a long-term healthy body. If you rush out now, you are gambling with your DNA. And nuclear weapons never talk about luck. They only talk about physical constants. So, please, close your eyes. Try to sleep, even though it sounds absurd. In times like this, sleep is the best medicine. It can lower your metabolism, let your brain get some rest, allowing you to have enough energy when you open your eyes to face the second day that has become completely alien. You have to tell yourself, what people outside do is their fate, but my task is to deathly guard this tiny closet until that eye-burning sky outside turns back to the color it should be. Now, we have reached the latter half of these 24 hours, your body might have started feeling all sorts of discomfort. It could be a headache from the stale air, or stomach cramps from irregular eating. At this time, the most dangerous enemy is no longer radiation, but the collapse of your inner self. You will start asking yourself, what is the point of surviving? The world is ruined. Civilization no longer exists. What am I holding on for here? Listen, this thought is the Reaper's favorite bait. It is trying to dismantle your defenses from within. You must know, human civilization isn't that easily destroyed as long as there is one living person thinking, recording, longing for tomorrow. The spark of civilization is still there. You aren't just living for yourself. You are preserving a survival sample for the entire human species. You need to find something for yourself to do in that dark room. Review the knowledge you've learned in your mind, or plan your first step after leaving the shelter. You must maintain your dignity as a human, even in this closet. Maintain basic cleanliness. Maintain a regular routine. This isn't just OCD. It is a form of psychological suggestion. It is telling your subconscious that you are still in control of the situation, that you are still a civilized person, not a beast scared out of its wits. This psychological construction will save your life in the subsequent wasteland life. Those who can survive a disaster and rebuild their homes are often not the ones with the most developed muscles, but those who, in the darkest moments, can still maintain inner order. So, please, straighten your spine. In this tiny sanctuary, be a lonely but determined watchman, welcoming the dawn that, though scarred and battered, is still full of hope. Let's summarize. What have you achieved in these 24 hours? You didn't freeze like a deer in the beam of light. You used reason to overcome the screams. You used mattresses and books to build a defensive line. You guarded the last drop of clean water. You ignored those bloody rumors. In this crazy world, with a near cruel level of calm, you earned your ticket to survival. The world outside might still be burning. The sky might still be that eerie purple. The power grid might be completely paralyzed. But none of that matters. What matters most is that your lungs are still rising and falling. Your brain is still running. You are still standing on this earth. This is the only victory. This is the greatest heroism. In the twilight of this civilization, you proved humanity's core competitiveness. It isn't destruction, but that tenacious vitality that finds a gap in the dead end. So, congratulations! You have successfully crossed the first day and night of World War III. If you can hear this, it means you already possess the qualities a survivor should have. Life in the wasteland has only just begun. Tomorrow's sun will shine on the ruins, and it will also shine on your determined face. The survival rules ahead will become more complex. Resource competition, climate extremes brought by environmental changes, and the tests of human nature you must face. Every step is a new challenge. If you want to know, after passing these initial 24 hours, in the coming week, how you should find true water sources, how to identify those danger zones after mutation. Welcome to Tell Me in the comments. We are going to get the highest score together in this mock exam. Don't forget to give this life-saving video a like. Forward it to the people you care about most. Perhaps at some point in the future, this act will become the catalyst for your reunion. Click follow. In our next episode, we will talk deeply about the moment you step out of the shelter as the radiation fades, how you should face a home you no longer recognize. We'll see you in the wasteland.